No matter where you sell, it seems like some customers are becoming even more price sensitive and in some cases even very unreasonable. I noticed this trend a few months ago. However, it all came to a head a few days ago on Facebook Marketplace. I have an item that I flip consistently locally on Facebook Marketplace for anywhere from $200 to $300, just depending on the condition of the item. Now, what this item is actually irrelevant to the bigger picture, but what's important to note is that this item sells very well for that price point of $200 to $300. In fact, most of the time when I get one of these items in, it sells within a few days of listing it on Facebook Marketplace. For me, this is one of the easiest things I flip locally. When I find one of these items to resell, I know for sure that it's going to be an easy payday and that I can almost guarantee that I'm going to make $200 to $300 on the item within a few days of listing it. The tough part about this item is it's very difficult to find. Everyone wants it, so it makes it very hard to actually find at a reasonable price that I can sell it for more. Now, when I list this item, it's not unusual for me to receive a ton of lowball offers. In fact, the majority of the time when I list one of these, I'll get at least 10 people messaging me saying, hey, I have $50 cash, I can come pick it up right now. Or even trying to set up times to come and kick the tires and say, hey, can I come take a look at it? AKA, can I come and see if I can get a better price on it? I say, yeah, no problem. Just so you know, I only take cash and the price is firm. That usually stops people from coming and wasting my time by trying to negotiate on site. Now, typically I'm never set on my prices. However, for this particular item, I do not negotiate. This item is in very high demand and it's very hard to find, and I know for a fact that it will sell for those prices that I'm listing it at. So I'm patient and I tell people that I'm firm. But the other day, a buyer sent me a message and their message caught my attention. It said, looking at the excess items online, I feel like 75 is a fair value for everything based on the fact that this is a used item. I was like, what? And then three things popped into my head. Who talks like this? Most of the time on Facebook, people don't explain their offers, they just send them. So that was kind of weird. But even the way he phrased the sentence made it extremely weird. Number two, excess items? Where is this guy seeing these items for sale? Maybe at a retailer or online, but in my local area, these items are very difficult to find. And my third thought was, I have this item listed for $300. He just sent me an offer for $75 saying that there's excess of these online. If he's seeing these for around $75, I want to know where they are so I can go buy them all and resell those ones for $300. So I sent him back a message saying $75 sounds like an amazing deal. Can you send me those? I'd be interested in buying them all at $75 each. I thought to myself, maybe I found a new source. This guy maybe has some inside information on where I can get a bunch of these items to resell. However, he quickly shoots me back some screenshots, and the screenshots are from ChatGPT. He prompted ChatGPT to give him the current market value of the item and factors in determining the value of the item. Okay, so now this is all starting to make sense. That first weird message, that was probably also from ChatGPT as well. Now, I'm always used to people complaining about prices and trying to get a better deal, but this is the first time I had someone actually share their screenshots from ChatGPT as evidence that my item was priced too much and that the market value of this item is lower. This guy obviously doesn't know how hard it is to find these items. Otherwise, he would have just bought it at the $300 because even that is a fair deal. However, he went on and ChatGPT gave him $75 as what the value of this item is, which just isn't true. However, he actually doubled down on this. So I quickly grabbed a screenshot of all the messages I had already received from people wanting this item. It was a whole list of people that had been messaging me all day asking to see this item or come get this item or trying to make deals on this item. So I took that screenshot and I sent him a message saying, here's what the actual used market looks like. I sell a few of these each week, all for $200 plus. But I am dead serious. If you actually find any real ones listed for around $75, let me know because I want to buy them all. He quickly replied to that message and said, I am just giving you a fair offer. Obviously, people pay above a fair price for items, but my offer is more than generous. I just ended up leaving the conversation at this point and blocking him because I knew he wasn't actually a serious buyer, and more than likely, honestly, he was probably just a reseller looking to buy this item and flip it himself. The item sold 2 days later for the full $300 to a guy that was super happy just to actually get this item. But all of this leads us to a bigger problem we are all facing in reselling. Price-sensitive customers that don't understand the actual market value of items. Now, obviously, everyone wants a good deal. That's nothing new. And in fact, I always try my best to offer people great deals when possible. I take and send offers every single day on the eBay platform. I am very open to negotiations as long as they're reasonable. My whole job is to sell items, go out and find more of those items and sell those items again. My job isn't to hold on to items and try to get the maximum profit out of each one. I just want to flip that item as fast as I can and go find more. But I also don't entertain buyers that are lowballers, that are sending offers that are unreasonable and are extremely below the market value of the items. And this is especially true on items that are in high demand. It's one thing if the item has no demand. However, an item that is very difficult to find and has a high customer demand is an item that I'm not willing to negotiate on. Now, locally, a lot of buyers seem to still have this mindset that they're doing people a favor by taking the items. Now, this can be true. If I was cleaning out my house or having a yard sale or just looking to get rid of my stuff for a few dollars, then that's actually the case. They would be doing me a favor by taking these items away, even if I'm not getting the full value of the item. However, these marketplaces, including yard sales, thrift stores, and Facebook Marketplace, are all changing. They're no longer about just getting rid of the items. They're actually about making money. In fact, in my local area, Facebook Marketplace probably has more resellers on the platform than it has normal people just trying to get rid of items. Now, I'm not saying that this is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying that the fact is more people are reselling things, especially on easy platforms like Facebook Marketplace. They can look up the item and know the value. So even a normal person that might just want to be throwing this item away or getting a few dollars, they might actually take those few extra seconds, Google Lens it, and have a rough idea of how much the item is actually worth before they list it on Facebook Marketplace. And if they don't, they're going to soon learn how much demand there are for some of these items. In my area, if you undervalue an item that is in high demand, you're going to receive countless messages almost instantly of people wanting to come get that item or even offering more money to come get that item first. And I think a lot of normal buyers just don't quite realize how strong the market is on some of these items. I can list an item and receive 10, 20 messages of people wanting to come get this item, wanting to offer me more money than I listed the item to cut the line when I say, no, I already have someone coming to pick it up, and they're offering me more money to come get this. And then I will still receive messages from the clueless person that sends me a message saying, hey, that item looks used, I'll send you a $20 bill for it. And these people are just very out of touch with how much these items are worth, and they're super price sensitive. This isn't just an isolated incident. I've talked to a lot of resellers on different platforms and even some that sell antiques at shows and antique booths, and they've all been saying the same thing. Buyers are becoming more price sensitive. Not only do they want a better deal, but they're leaning more towards the lower value items. They no longer have the same cash flow that they used to have to be buying the high-end items, and the smalls or the lower dollar items are selling faster than the big or more expensive items that typically would have sold in the past. So even people that have antique booths have had to change the way that they have been stocking their inventory. They have realized that the customers are looking for better deals and they have less money to spend. So they have to be more conscious of how much margins they have when they're buying items, and they're focusing on items that are smaller, allowing those smaller purchases. In fact, I'm also seeing the same trend here on eBay. Not only are people trying to get better deals, but they're also leaning towards the cheaper options rather than the more expensive ones. This isn't anything new. Almost everyone wants a good deal and wants to get an item as cheap as possible. However, from my personal experience, I have seen an increase in what I would consider unreasonable people sending me messages or offers on the eBay platform. Now, I try my best to remove the emotions when I'm buying and selling items. I don't get attached to an item. I don't have an emotional connection to these items. And I try not to even get attached to the perceived value of these items because the value can change from a day-to-day basis. And that's why I am more than willing to accept offers. In fact, I love when someone sends me a reasonable offer on an item. I'm almost always going to accept that and get that item sold and go find another one. However, one of my least favorite things, and one of the things I've been seeing a huge increase in, is people leaving messages in the offers or sending me a message after the offer has been sent. Now, I've been hearing it all, from I'm completely ripping customers off to them using their friends or family or even children to try to get a better deal. You know how the message goes. I really want this shirt, but I'm on a budget. I want to wear it to my dead goldfish's funeral, and he really enjoyed those kinds of t-shirts, so I would really like it if you could offer me a good deal on the item. They try to pull at your heartstrings, they try to give you excuses, or they try to belittle you to get you to give them a better deal. They try to say, hey, your items are overpriced, therefore you should sell it to me for a lower price. And I've been seeing a huge increase in this. And this isn't just because I'm pricing my items super high. I almost always price my items at the middle or lower end of the market value, and I take offers. However, I don't do it when people are unreasonable. Some of my favorite kinds of messages that I receive when I get offers are when they insult my items. They'll say, hey, that item has stains, that item is damaged, that item is old, whatever the excuse is. And then they say something like, I will only give you $20 because of this. Yeah, right. Like, I really want to sell you an item that you're already complaining about. You're not the buyer I'm looking for. If you're complaining about the item before you even bought it, I can't imagine the complaints after you receive the item. Or one of my other favorites is, why is your item so expensive? I see other ones listed for $15. You have yours listed for $50. I will give you $20. And I'm like, well, why are you even messaging me? If you see ones for $15, why are you offering me $20 on mine? Go buy one of those for $15. Now, I shared this one last week on Instagram, but I actually even had a buyer ask me to waive the taxes on the item. Like, come on, folks, what is going on here? Speaking of Instagram, I am starting to share more behind the scenes content on that platform. Not only am I listing daily bolos of items that you can go out, find, and resell, but in my stories, I'm just sharing some behind the scenes stuff that is going on in my reselling and my daily life. So if that's something that interests you, be sure to check out the link down in the description and give me a follow over there. Now, I think this trend of customers being super unreasonable about the prices is going to continue in the near future. In fact, it may even get worse. Everyone is feeling a pinch in their financial situation, and the lowball offers are going to continue. They have always existed, but I've been seeing a huge increase in the amount of them. All of these marketplaces are changing, and buyer trends and buyer demands are also changing. We as resellers have to adapt. Does this mean it's the end of reselling? No, I actually think it's a good thing for a lot of resellers. When people are tight on money, they actually go to the secondary market. They're looking to buy pre-owned, or they're going to sites like eBay to find better deals. The key here is they want better deals, so we have to be able to offer better deals. Now, this is absolutely going to hurt some resellers. If you're selling brand new items with a high cost of goods and your margins are very thin, you will end up having some trouble competing in this marketplace. Because customers are demanding better deals, if you're not able to offer those deals, they're going to move on to the next person or the next marketplace that gives them that better deal. Yes, this means retail arbitrage is about to get a whole lot tougher. Here's what I'm going to do moving forward as a reseller who primarily focuses on selling pre-owned items. Well, actually, I'm not going to change a whole lot. In fact, this has been my business model since day one. But number one, I'm going to focus on needs versus wants. I will continue to search for items that will sell well no matter what the economy is doing. This means I am going to continue to comp items, look at sell-through rates, and only pick up items that have a buyer demand. Number two, I'm going to keep my cost of goods as low as possible. Currently in my business, my average cost of goods is right around $4.40, and I'm going to continue to keep it at that place or below it, which allows me to have a little bit of wiggle room in the margins when I'm selling to customers online. I have to take into account the fact that this item might have to be discounted or that the buyer trends might change in the future and I might have to discount this item or accept or take offers on this item. Number three, I'm going to keep things moving. As the market is constantly changing and the buyers are demanding different price points for different items and different things are coming in and out of demand, I want to make sure that I am getting rid of items as fast as possible. So this means I am sending offers, accepting offers, discounting items, and getting items listed and up for sale as fast as possible. Because if I don't, that item's price may actually change in just a few weeks. Now, I do not think this is the end of reselling. In fact, my sales have held fairly consistently throughout this entire year, and I'm not seeing a huge increase or decrease in the amount of items or even the prices that I'm selling these items for. However, what I am seeing is a major increase in the amount of buyers that are reaching out and specifically looking for deals on these items. But this is just my opinion on the items I'm selling. I don't have a whole picture of the entire market. So I'm curious to know what you guys are seeing. Are you guys experiencing an increase in lowball offers? Are you guys experiencing an increase in buyers sending messages demanding lower prices or trying to trick you into giving them a lower price? Are you going to be making any changes in your business moving forward? I'm curious to know what you guys are experiencing and what you guys are planning on doing. So drop a comment down below and let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you're going to love this one. So go ahead and give it a click.